So we were parachuting the Explorer onto planet, right?
No, it's just going down in the shuttle.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Did he say shuttle going down?
Yep.
Yeah, so you guys are still on the station. So somebody want to do a recap of last time? Get Eric up to speed.
Let's figure out a nice way to
Clyde,
say how we did
Doug,
it.
were you here last time too, or not?
Honestly, don't remember.
I think you were for a little bit and then had to leave for something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what? That sounds about right.
Yeah, so somebody, Eric, Angel, or Shane, or the combination of you three, go ahead and give us a rundown of what's happened so far.
Well, we got onto the station, and we realized that the spaceship that was possibly attacked the shuttle in Chuan Star was docked because of the communication signal. We tried to see if we could get on board or try to talk to somebody on there, but we were basically sent packing. And then we tried to figure out ways to get onto the ship. One of the Drawlasite navigators that we heard about was down in a bar, and we got him drunk off the best bath spice that there was. And when he was in there, we went in there and tried to rough him up for some answers.
Do you get Drowsites drunk with Old Spice?
Yes.
Works every time.
Yes. So at that point, we actually recorded his confession that they were responsible for piracy and attacking that ship, which we gave to Streel. And we were thinking about sneaking onto their ship because we know that they have some artifacts on that ship from the same kind of area that there was the artifacts on, what's the planet I'm thinking of here?
On Laco.
Pale.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So we came up with a lot of plans that, looking back upon it, would have gotten us killed. And have now decided we're going to let Streel handle it, and we're going to head on to the planet. So. Oh, and we tried to get them to leave their ship by telling them we had information on them, and kind of bungled it and got station security sent after us. But luckily, we re-edited all the phone logs. So.
Yeah, they actually made their die rolls for that one.
Yeah.
We got caught, but we didn't get proven guilty.
Yes. We're just people of interest. We're the usual suspects. So we probably want to get off the station as quick as we can and let them forget about us.
Create storage, you mean?
Yes. So.
All right, yeah, I don't think there's anything that you missed that I need to remind you of, so that's all good. So they're loading up their last cargo unit worth of stuff right now, and that's partially what prompted them to try to figure out how to get on, but then they decided that wasn't good. And they are scheduled to leave within the next 3 or 4 hours. Your shuttle leaves in the morning, so you've got one more night cycle before the shuttle you moved your tickets to departs the station. So if there's anything you want to do on station between now and then, we can do that, or we can just fade to black and go to the shuttle ride down to the planet. It's up to you.
I am not lending anybody any money for the casino.
But I tell you, I can make you double.
I can take a dollar bill and rip it in half and make it double too.
You just gotta take a few risks once in a while.
I'd forgotten about that, Shane.
Yeah, we should probably pick those up. people look unfavorably on people leaving those around.
Oh, well, you could do that without any problem.
Okay. Yeah, oh yeah, we might need them too. I wasn't even thinking about that. Okay, it wasn't our finest moments, Eric. Let's just...
No.
It was humorous.
Void sickness. That's what it is.
Someday I'll get the audio up.
we might be okay if that one just somehow never makes it there.
Yeah. It all seemed logical at the time.
At the moment, it looked like a good idea.
Yeah.
We started looking at it more too.
All right. I guess fade to black.
Things looking like a good idea usually are followed by, "Hey, y'all, watch this."
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we can fade it back. I just buy some souvenirs and that's it.
Yeah. After a few hours, the ship closes up its cargo bay doors. It's got everything loaded up, and you see it slowly move out into the center line and then out of the center of out of the station hub, and head off. And at that point, you lose sight of it. You're blocked off by the hub of the station, and you guys go back to your sleeping pods or your rooms, as the case may be, and the night passes uneventfully. You get up in the morning, and you head back into the hub to catch your shuttle, and you get there, and they let you know that the Explorer's already been loaded on. It's all secured down, ready to go, and you can board the shuttle whenever you want. It'll be departing in an hour or so, but when you get there, you got about an hour's time before it leaves. It's a whole-size 2 shuttle, so it's kind of roomy, relatively, because it's got to be able to take your Explorer down with it, and probably can seat about 20 or 30 passengers in addition to the cargo. So
I think it's probably safer for me if I just get on the ship and listen to the Blue Danube there. A little 2001 action. Oh, did the pirate ship leave?
yeah, it left last night.
All right.
So at this point, it's probably, I mean, it's 10 hours out, and assuming they're accelerating in a normal 1G acceleration, it's actually not that far away yet.
Well,
So,
hopefully they get intercepted.
Yeah, but nothing will happen until they're further out system.
Oh, so it's our pirates versus their pirates.
Pretty much. I mean, that is the war between Pangalactic and Streel. It's
Well,
yeah, and last one to go was one of the Streel ships in the system. So
gotta return the favor.
indeed. Hey, I'm agreeing.
all right, is anybody gonna do anything before you get on the shuttle?
I don't think
No,
so.
I think we just get on.
No,
Let's get planet side.
no, it's an hour.
All right, so you get on the shuttle. There's a few other people on board. It's actually fairly full, and it looks, it's just rows of seats, and they say, all right, everybody get in, strap down. We'll be planet side in about well, it takes us a couple of minutes to get out of the station, and then there'll be some acceleration as we decelerate, and then we'll drop down, and it'll take us about 20 minutes to get down, and we'll be on the surface. Thanks for flying Sandy Bottom Shuttle Systems. And they that's the name of the company.
But I'm still thinking SpongeBob.
Yeah, that's
I know.
Sorry.
And so they get everybody strapped in. The flight attendant comes through and makes sure everybody's buckled in properly, because you will have a couple of G's acceleration at different points in the process.
Are there a lot of people here wearing Pangalactic suits? Is this mostly Pangalactic?
No, there's everybody there is in civilian attire. There's no logos evident. Unless you guys are wearing, any of you are wearing your Streel uniforms, and then yours will be. But no, it looks, they could be, but if they are, they're not wearing uniforms. You have no idea.
Yeah.
I hope the crew's wearing uniforms.
Well, the crew is wearing their uniforms, but the passengers.
His
So,
name like Sandy Bottoms. I'm expecting overalls.
so you strap in. It's fairly uneventful ride to the surface, a little bumpy in places, but you're dropping down through the atmosphere, and as you touch down, you definitely notice the heavier gravity of Blacko.
Yeah, this is gonna suck for you Azerians.
Yeah. So Blacko's surface gravity is
Do I look fat to you?
yeah, it's 1.4 G's. So it's half again as much as what you had on payroll. And
I feel a little wider.
Yeah.
It just means you got a
Man.
lower center of gravity, right? More stability. But you definitely noticed that. And the next thing you notice is when the doors of the shuttle open, even though it's connected by effectively a jetway to the surface terminal where they've landed, it's hot. You've come down in some of the more fertile area. You're in Tyrell's Landing is the name of the city. It's the capital of Lacko. It's not the oldest city. It was founded after the Sathar War. It's kind of where the refugees from Pale first landed when they got here. Captain Tyrell was the one who kind of shepherded them from Pale to Lacko to Dixon Star. And Point Glass, which is the original settlement, which is it's to the north of you, north and a little bit east, quite a ways, several hundred kilometers, and it's up by the Great Glass Pyramids. But this area is much more fertile, this is why the refugees came here. So you're by a lake. Some of the little bit of water there is on this part of Lacko.
Okay. There's no map we have, right?
I don't have a map.
Okay.
So, but it's a large town for Lacko. It's nothing compared to, say, Point True, but it's probably got 60 or 70,000 people that live in this city now.
Okay.
But you're in the terminal. You go out to the gate, and the gate agent says, "You're the ones with the Explorer, right?"
Yes.
He says, "Okay, follow me. Actually, follow this guy here." And he points to a human. This is Josh, and he'll take you down to where you can pick up your vehicle.
Follow.
All right.
See my baby.
Yeah, so you follow him, and he takes you out through the security area, out into the main area, and then to a side door, and out into basically what's a hangar garage. You see some shuttles in there. Looks like they're undergoing some maintenance. There's a few air cars and other vehicles, and then sitting there on the edge, just by the outside door, is your Explorer. And if you thought it was warm when you got off the shuttle, it's even warmer now.
Can I check to see if anyone's watching us while we're doing this?
Not any more than I mean, people glance your direction, but nobody. It doesn't seem like anybody's like paying particular attention to you.
Okay.
Cameras everywhere, dude.
But
So
when I get to the Explorer, I'm gonna open it up and make
You
sure.
didn't go
all
through
our-
customs or anything like that?
that happened already on the station.
Okay.
It was all your stuff was cleared in the 2 days you were on station.
Tell you what, customs have gotten really lax if they let us on board.
So, and everything was your trip here was paid for by Streel, so they may have also arranged things so it didn't, you don't know, but you had a very easy time, and so he takes you over there and he says, he gives you some directions. He says when you head out the hangar doors here, hang a right, and just kind of follow along the you'll see a marked road, and that will take you out to the main exit of the starport, and you can head on into town.
Are we supposed to check in with Streel?
At some point, yeah, you have your contact is expecting you at some point to check in because they've got some information for you that they weren't going to transmit up to the station.
I like the sound of that.
You're fired.
That's not okay. We didn't actually attack, so we probably won't be fired. Maybe.
I get in the passenger. I get in the driver's side. Who's gonna be passenger?
Okay.
Who's shotgun?
So you guys want to just head into town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Left-hand side road world or right-hand side road world?
It's a right-hand side road.
Okay.
There's no English people here, so let's say the correct side.
Don't try to test me because we're gonna crash. My rolls aren't good. You know this.
Actually, your roll was great last week when it counted, so that's why we're not in jail.
Yeah.
All right. So where are you gonna head? You gonna head straight to the Streel offices on the planet, or are you gonna go somewhere else first?
I think we should go straight to the Streel offices, personally.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
gonna
that
go to
makes
Streel.
Good burger joint. Remember, airplane food sucks. My first stop in Tokyo is get a burger. We cover
Baby desert burgers. Yeah.
junk.
Hey, what was the name of the chain restaurant too up on the station?
Oh, I don't remember.
You didn't write it down?
That company's going out of business soon.
If I did, it's not in the notes I have handy.
Laco Taco. That was it.
Laco Taco.
Taco Taco.
All right, so as you leave the station, you head into the city. You notice a few things. One is that there aren't any really tall buildings. The tallest building is probably at most 5 stories. They're all pretty low to the ground. They are fairly spread out for a city. I mean, in point of truth, things are packed in pretty close. There's actual space between the cities, between the houses. Houses have yards, although they're not. They're mostly there's not very much greenery in evident. But they have space around them, and they're not cheek and jaw. They're not. It's not like rows of townhomes and things like that. Because there's lots of land, and nothing's really tall, and a lot of it's all very, very brightly colored.
Like they choose to like purple walls and green
Yeah,
walls.
exactly. Yeah, bright colors, sometimes often very clashing right next to each other, but it's very, very colorful.
I'm starting to think that that restaurant chain is like Laco Taco.
Why are you feeling the effects a day later?
Well, you know, it's just I can see these haciendas here.
Yeah. So there's also a lot of like just banner type decoration, flag poles with flags and things like that. You see a lot. There's just it's a very riot of colors all through the town. You get to the Streel complex without too much trouble, and it's a little more sedate. But even the Streel compound is brightly painted in the Streel company colors. Which I know what they are, but I can't think of what I have them be at the moment. So, but you pull up to the gate. They ask for ID. You show it to them. They check it. Takes a minute, but then they wave you through. There's an underground parking garage that is significantly cooler than the surface, and you go in, and there's another security check to get into the building, but again, your passes, your ID cards get you right through, and then you can head up to your contact's office. And when you get there, there's a secretary, and she kind of a little bit surprised to see you, but just because she didn't know exactly when you guys were coming in, but she recognizes you. Once you identify yourself, she recognizes who you are, and she buzzes through to let him know you're here. And he says, "Send him on in." And so you go through into his office, and he's got he directs you over. There's an attached little meeting room that everyone can sit in with a variety of seats for the different races and everything, so everybody can get a seat that's comfortable. And
a bowl for me.
A bowl.
And yeah, they make Dralosite chairs here on Earth now, you know. So he says, "Well, welcome to Laco. See, you made it okay. How was your diversion up on the station?"
Very diverting.
Less productive than you would have preferred.
Complicated. Did you get our message about our evidence, I guess?
Yeah, we got that. That is being taken care of.
Was it taken care of with a wink or taking care of?
He just says it's being taken care of.
All our pay grade dudes.
All right. Well, won't see that ship again.
No, when we do, then we're going to be in serious trouble. There we go. Dralosite chairs.
Kind of like it.
Pour the drink in the bottom and sit on top.
Nice.
So that's being taken care of. Yeah, and so here's what we know. We've got that information, and we ran down that Chronocom number, and actually it wasn't very hard because he used to work for us.
Oh yeah, Mr. Parkel.
And he used to work out. We have a site, Tetrarch Ruins site that we've been investigating out to the northwest, and he worked there for a few years, and as happens, he got recruited by Pangalactic. They made him an offer he liked. They steal some of ours, we steal some of theirs. The scientists kind of move around quite a bit down here. We try to keep them, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. It's just kind of part of working here. It all works out in the end. So, but he now works at a PGC site, actually near Point Glass, one of the larger sites out near the glass pyramids, and that's about all I can tell you. He hasn't worked for us for over a year now, but at least that's who that number belongs to.
All right. So we need to go and find him. Is that what I'm hearing?
Hey, you might go out to the site he used to work at, and because a lot of the people there know him pretty well, they might even have contact with him.
Have all the artifacts from that site been transported? Because it seems like he's got the inside information on those artifacts.
Yeah. Well, all the ones that were there when he was there are gone now. We were in the process of shutting that site down. We thought we had gotten everything we could out of it, but just about 3 days ago, there was a small earthquake out in that area, actually, and it opened up something that had been missed, and we found a few new underground rooms. So they're in the process of examining that.
Well, if I might,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't need to know too much. Well, actually, would be helpful to the artifact that was intercepted, or they tried to intercept on the way back to Pale. What, if you don't mind me asking, kind of was that artifact, and how? I mean, have they tried to go after other artifacts that you've had from this site, or is maybe there's something special about that artifact?
Well, it was actually a collection of things. Most of them were actually from that site. Yes, there were some from some of our other sites as well. There were just things that we didn't have the facilities to really work with or analyze here, so we were sending them back to Pale for where the bigger labs are. So yeah, some of them came from there for sure. Was there anything special? Not that we know of. They were just a variety of unidentifiable technical objects and physical objects that we were sending back.
Well, I'm just wondering if you don't think they were special, maybe special for some reason.
It's possible. I don't know. I'm not one of the scientists. Like I said, you might want to go out to that site and talk with them.
Any of his old colleagues?
Yeah, they're still there. A lot of them are. Like I said,
how well is this guy dressed that we're talking to?
He's pretty good dressed. He's probably middle management. He's not like a VIP or a VP or anything like that. But he's not a low grunt either.
Any credentials on the walls?
Like what?
Like university degrees, awards.
Oh, yeah.
Plumbing certificate.
He does have he's got a bachelor's in history, you can see, but then he's got like an MBA and he's got some Streel awards up there, but he looks like he has a passing knowledge in the concepts, but maybe not a lot of hands-on stuff.
How often do we know that how often they rotate personnel on Laco?
It's
like, would this guy have been here for a while, or is he doing his little rotation?
Oh, this guy here.
Yes.
He you can ask him, but they they do both. Some people stay a long time. Some people rotate in and out. From the looks of his office, he's probably been here 5 or 6 years
Okay.
at least. So
He might have helped start the war.
yeah, might have. he looks like he's been here a while.
Okay.
All right, so we gotta go check out the site. Can
Yeah.
we get the directions and the map to the location?
Yeah, he it's about a 4-hour drive to the northwest. It's mostly overland, but you guys are in an Explorer, so that shouldn't be an issue. There's no real flora or fauna you need to worry about. The largest, the apex predator on Laco is, about half a meter long. So
we're not going to be running into Cybo Dragon.
no, there's as far as we know, there's no satellite monsters here. There was a space battle, but it was fairly minor, and they didn't drop anything off on the planet. So, other than a few bombs. But yeah, the Laco was fairly untouched by the invasion years back. So there's nothing like that here.
All right. Are there any supplies that you guys can give us that are what we'll need if we do run into it there, since we're
Run into a what?
an emergency? It's pretty sparse out there.
Yeah. What do you want?
Well, I would like you to upload the maps that you have of the area to our.
Yeah, he can definitely do that.
Okay. That I want.
And I kind of like the idea of getting a ton of water for the back of the.
Okay.
I want to get a couple
Yeah,
of cases.
he says go down to the motor pool and they'll outfit you with some desert kits.
Survival get like tents and
Yeah.
just in case. All right.
Dehydrated water.
Yeah, dehydrated water.
I think we might need some colorful clothing to blend in as well,
Yeah, I'm thinking
with the locals.
scarves, man.
In the heat.
Yes, lightweight scarves and big, huge brimmed hats.
Arriba!
Laco's more the Arabian style than the Mexican.
Oh, no sombreros.
I'm talking
How
headscarves.
Yeah,
boring.
headscarves, helmets. I mean, hats are people definitely wear hats, but and I'm sure there's quite a number of Dralicites on the planet that wear giant sombreros, just for the shock value.
With the mustache.
With the mustache, super glued on.
Oh, crap. There goes my original idea.
So you go down to the motor pool and they give you I think you guys already bought containers to hold water in.
I think we bought containers, but I don't think we didn't fill them. So
Yeah,
we're gonna fill
no,
them.
but you can easily fill those up. They just you can take them over to the hose and fill them up, or you can take the hose over the. I guess they're pretty big. They were like 10-gallon cans, right? So you probably want to fill them up in the Explorer, unless you really want to load 90 pounds of water around.
No.
So
It'd be more than that on this planet.
well, yeah, that's true. Times 40% more. So 130 pounds of water.
It's a Drallicite sport, man. Get a big heavy thing and carry it between your arms. Waddle over there. Whoa!
So
Just reshape yourself into a nice saddle shape, and we'll just load it on you.
I think Drallicite hauling
where did
water
you
might
get that
just
picture
form
from?
a hole, pour it inside, waddle over, pour it back out.
Gamma World 3rd edition.
Oh, okay.
I always liked it. It always reminds me of Yazirian's Gone Wild.
Yeah.
It does look like-
So they also give you
Yeah.
basically a set of desert survival packs, and each each one of those contains a small backpack with 8 liters of water, some Vitasalt pills, some survival rations, and not an all-weather blanket, but something very similar to it. Instead of it being like fur-lined on one side and reflective on the other, it's just one of those light emergency type blankets that can, and it's very reflective to help keep the heat off. And then they have, the other thing that's in there is so rations, Vitasalt. I said that rations, Vitasalt pills, water, the all-weather blanket, and then there is a small, basically a small one-man tent that's part of each kit. Yeah, and then sunscreen. Yeah.
Can we get a sat phone or something?
You can get a radio phone. Yeah.
Radio phone, yeah. Okay, I'd like to get a radio phone.
Okay. So they'll issue you one of those too.
Okay.
Can you get the goggles like I did put in UV to stop the glare?
If you don't already have sun goggles, that they do that. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what sun goggles are at least partially for. So that's already built into that. But if you don't have a pair of sun goggles, they'll give you one.
Okay.
If you're Yazirian and you don't have a pair of sun goggles, you're kind of stupid.
Yes.
Just got out of the fight.
Or you're still living on hints. One of the two.
There you go.
How does that work with Drollicite?
Drolicites don't need it.
Okay.
We're so cool. It looks dark to us all the time.
It's always dark for them. It's all black and
Yeah.
white.
That's our fascination with colors.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, does this look good together? How about this?
Mm.
No.
Yeah, I always wondered that. Say that the Drolicites and Drammune color themselves,
Yeah, it's all
In
shades
all-
of gray.
paint themselves in different shades of gray.
I
Okay.
always imagine they use patterns in it.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
The squiggly pattern means I'm kind of grumpy today.
All right.
If it's swirly, I'm like happy.
Is there anything else you guys think we might need? Worried about breaking down out there, or more than likely having to run from something and then getting stuck out there?
Well, do our chronocombs connect with the satellite network?
Yeah. Well, with the
Okay.
satellite network, no. But there is a relay at the base. So while you're between, they connect up here in the city, and then there's a relay at the base that would connect them up to the network. But while you're out in the wilderness, there wouldn't be anything.
Could we have a relay hooked up to the Explorer and then
No.
hook that up to our chronocoms?
That's what I'm
No.
thinking the
Well,
sat
not-
phone would do for us.
Like the radio phone,
Well,
hook the radio phone up to the Explorer.
Well, you can just make calls with the radio phone.
Yeah, but I'm
Right.
saying if
But
we
what-
hook that up, then we could.
Bridge our
Yeah.
chronocoms.
Well, so
Oh, I see. Use the radio phone as a patch.
Yeah, like if we had a hub, using that as a
probably
hub.
not with the radio phone they can give you.
Right. What about the other thing I wanted to look for was tracking devices. Maybe we could put one on each of us if we needed to, or be able to remove it and put it on something. Just like a tracker for our clothing, just so, if there's a sandstorm or something and we get lost or separated.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's something you could definitely get.
Okay. Because I'm just looking at, all the things that could go wrong in this. So that's all I was saying.
Nothing's gonna go wrong. What are you talking about?
Do we
All
need
right.
air filters?
Do you need air filters?
Yeah. If sand kicks up like that?
Oh, you mean for your
Mask, you mean?
Explorer?
No, for
That's
us.
For you?
like a
Oh,
mask.
You want a mask?
If we had to,
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
that's
go in
actually
the,
that would be
thing.
something in their little kit that they gave you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like a mouth covering to keep any fine
Yeah.
grained stuff out if you're in a sandstorm or something. And there would be a
No.
pair of sun goggles in there if you needed it, but if you didn't, then they would just leave it out. So,
Does anybody have binoculars?
I think I do. Hang on.
yes, and I know Zulki's character had a pair of magnet goggles.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name. Thinking that they were too expensive to. No, I actually have them on mine. Okay.
No, I have sun goggles and IR goggles. I do not have magnet goggles.
IR goggles are going to look very red shifted right now.
Yeah. Well, at night, could be
True.
useful.
There could be quite the temperature swing between day and night. What's the day? How many hours per day here?
They're 60. Blacko's
60
got
hours.
an even slower rotation than Pale, actually.
Oh, there is one other thing to think of here.
Okay.
Can we get an explorer-sized tarp that blends in?
Like
With-
a camo tarp. Yes.
Yes, a camo tarp.
They can give you one of those as well.
Okay. I'd like to do that. Get one of those.
Shoot, we're going to do that. Why don't we put a front loader on the front of the floor so we can dig our own hole and drive into it?
Actually,
That would
some
take
digging
a while.
implements.
No.
Some digging implements would not be a bad idea. So.
Actually, that was good. That is a good idea. Some shovels
Alright.
would be.
So is it okay? The typical dirt around here, is it just sand everywhere, or is it going to
No,
get hard?
it's
leachate
going to
type
be
stuff?
both. I mean, right where you're at, it's actually moderately fertile. That's why the city's where it is. As you get out into the desert, there are dunes in some areas, but the area right around here is more just
Sorry.
scrub brush, and it's not like sand dunes, Sahara Desert type thing. It's more like it's more like Nevada.
Okay, Nevada dirt is like harder than rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, as soon as it gets wet, it turns into this slush.
Clay, and then it
The
hardens
rest
out
of the time
hard.
of the year, you don't even take a backhoe to it. It breaks backhoes.
So you'll have some of that. But there is some shrubbery here and there along in the area you're in.
At least we won't need the machete.
That's probably true.
But yeah, some shovels would be good. We might find that useful.
Some shovels and some pry bars.
Okay.
And the proverbial 10-foot pole, we need one of those. Pitons.
I know. I'm just worried about it all. I'm just trying to get us all set up, you know.
I know. I was listening to a thing earlier this week about why the 10-foot pole was in the standard D&D equipment pack, and it was the way they used to play. Everyone
Oh yeah.
walked around tapping the floor with the
ahead of
10-foot
them for
pole
traps.
so they didn't give up limbs.
Yes.
Yeah, you could get an extra pair battery if you wanted
Yeah.
one.
All right.
I think
What about a
it's-
generator then?
that they can't get you.
Oh, shucks. Come on, guys. We could be out there for a long time, and how are we going to play Xbox if our batteries are dead?
Let me look. I'm looking up. I gotta look up which. I think the Explorer uses a Type 3 pair battery.
And if we're going to be digging it all, what about some kind of service robot to do that for us?
That you don't have room for at this point. You've got.
What do you mean he can ride on the top?
Humanoid type or something like that.
Hey, John,
No
what do we
legs,
have?
heavy wheels, and we'll tow
What
it.
do we have robot-wise that you're bringing with us?
I have actually a good assortment of, motors, stepper motors, actuators, a couple of,
Yeah, type 3.
circuit boards, with the,
Okay.
just
Can I
good.
get air blower?
So yeah, the para battery the para battery that your Explorer uses weighs 100 kilos. So I mean, you could put one in the back. Might
I
take
still say we
two
should
of
take
you
a
to
second.
lift it. But yeah, they can loan you one to take with you.
I want to get the air blower, like a leaf blower kind of thing, so we could always blow sand. If something breaks, I can blow sand out of it before I start working on it.
Okay. They probably have one of those handy they can lend you.
Brand name Dyson. Yeah, science fiction, man. You gotta have science fiction names.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, pretty soon you're gonna need a trailer. You're pretty filling up your. You gotta remember, it's all gonna fit in 6 cubic meters.
6 cubic meters is pretty good space.
Yeah.
No, we strap.
We
the,
could strap stuff on the top.
outside. We want to look. We want to look like World War II with the shovels on the
The
outside.
Rat Patrol. So we're posers right now, is what you're telling us.
We've all been watching them late night movies on the
Netflix.
well, yeah, or the in between stations of your regular programming. The
Yeah.
old folks stations. Late night.
All right.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Okay.
Gonna.
All right. So you head out, and
So
oh yeah.
just quickly, who wants to edit the stuff that we put on here on the Explorer? Because we have an Explorer character sheet.
Yeah, somebody should add those so you.
Oh, crap, Jack. Okay, hold on. Let me get a pen and paper.
All right.
Do you do anything in town before you head out, or do you just head out to the site?
I think we should just head out.
Let's head out to the site.
Is there a particular place where employees hang out that we need to get to at least say hi and meet a few of the regulars? Typical club hangout, bar, rec hall, something like that we should make ourselves known.
If you want to, he gives you the name of some places that in town that are common watering holes for the crew. But he goes, there's not anything really specific. We draw. Our staff lives all over. So
Has anybody else worked this guy before that we could go talk to and see what previous investigators done?
No, he's been. I mean, he worked the dig for several years, and PGC poached him. We got one of theirs shortly thereafter, so figured it was a fair trade. And but there's been nothing in particular that we've looked into him for any reason for. So no, there isn't.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Let me decide, because I hadn't thought about this before. But let's see where we are in the cycle. So it is just nighttime. So by the time you get this all settled out, it's actually the off period for the planet. So it's basically the end of the day. You've been up for basically a full day at this point with the ride down and getting all your stuff arranged and all that. So you could either head out now and drive through the nighttime period, the sleep period of this cycle. So on LACO, they just take the 60-hour day and divide it into 3 20-hour standard days. One of them is all light, the other one is half and half, and the other one's all dark. So, and you're in the nighttime of the half and half day. So they can put you up. They have some barracks there, basically at the Streel compound, that they can put you up if you want to sleep before you head out in the morning, or the day period. It'll be dark either way when you travel, but
We should probably get some rest.
That would make sense.
That would make our faces known to some of our people that we're working with. Maybe we meet an important NPC or not, I don't know.
Oh, all NPCs are important, right?
Some are cannon fodder.
That makes them important because, you know, saves us from.
That's true.
Wouldn't the half and half have to be like 10 hours on each side of it, though?
so the first day starts roughly when sunrise is on the first. So that's the day period of the first day, and then that night it's still light. Like noon, local noon occurs in the halfway through that second.
Gotcha.
Cycle.
I was getting confused there.
And then the evening is the third period, the daytime of the second day, and then it actually gets dark for night of that second day, and then it's dark all through the day and night of the third day.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I was having trouble there for a second.
that's how they.
I was thinking it started at midnight. And
Yeah, no. They started at dawn.
okay.
So at
Do
least
we have 3 10-gallon kegs or
you had 3 of them, yeah.
3 10-gallon kegs?
Yep.
Air blower, desert kits, desert gun.
All right.
They would,
Well, while he's driving,
they would actually
I'll just be...
They would actually be 40 liter. They're actually probably 50 liter, so they're probably 12 gallons.
Tom, did you touch my character sheet in Roll20 while I was out, or?
Don't think so.
Okay. Just wondering if there's anything new there.
No, there isn't.
Trying to think. Okay, we got the camel tarp cover, the 3 12-gallon kegs, the air blower, the desert kits. What else?
The air blower,
Extra pair of battery.
Yeah, I put the extra battery.
The shovels and all that, pry bars. Oh, and some chain. You need to pull something out with a chain. There actually should be something new in his character sheet if you haven't touched it. We all got a lot of cash.
Oh, I don't remember if I added that or not.
When did we get the cash? Was that?
It was a while ago, but Eric hasn't been here for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was like, I want to say it was like 750 total or something.
Yeah, I sent him a message. I sent Eric a message at one point about it, and I think it's if you go far back in the dialogue.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure he got that on his character there.
Yeah.
How much chain?
I don't know.
20 feet?
10 meters. 10 meters is probably good.
Yeah, so
while we're
was-
driving, I'm just going to be searching the horizon, searching the air.
So if you
Just checking
didn't
things
add
out.
that, this was way back from the May session. It was 530 credits and 3 XP.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been that long.
Wow.
Yeah, because we had a couple weeks there where Tom actually
Yeah,
had to
Yeah,
work.
we had a couple cancels. Yeah. Had to earn some money to pay for all this. Okay, so you head out, and the drive's actually fairly uneventful and fairly boring. It's
Really good.
once you get there's irrigated farmland around the town, but once you're more than a few miles away from the town, it's just open desert. A little bit of scrub brush here and there, low rolling hills, but nothing really exciting. You don't see anything. Oh, it's dark too, so that doesn't help. But for those of you using IR goggles, it does get fairly cool, but it's not like super cold. It probably gets down into the 60s or 70s Fahrenheit.
Nice.
Compared to the hundreds or so that it was during the day, you're quite happy. Roll the windows down and enjoy it. I mean, it was still warm from the day when you landed, but it had started to cool off, but it wasn't very cool yet. And by the time you head out now, it's basically local midnight, and it's fairly cool. But the drive out is uneventful. Your maps seem to work, and after about 4 hours, you top a rise on a hill, and off in the distance you see the
Lights.
you see the lights of the compound that you're headed to. Hey, it didn't move your map over. There we go. So this is what you see off in the distance, and you are coming from basically from the bottom right corner of this map. Is the direction to Point True, or to Tyrell's Landing. The actual map has it labeled, but it's off the bottom here. It's like I blew it up a little bit. And so what you see is, from a distance, you can kind of see there's like shipping containers. Let's see. I want to go here. I want to go here. So these things look just like shipping containers, but sitting on the top of them is a weapon. You're guessing from the distance, you're guessing it's probably a laser, just by the rough look of it. You can see these 4 buildings here that are closest to you look like some prefab, just not quite Quonset huts. They're not domed like Quonset huts, but they're like just cheap prefab, throw them up quick buildings. There's a larger one over here, and then you can just barely make out the barbed wire surrounding it. So there's a rough defensive perimeter around it, and you think World War I trench type barbed wire, just coils of it laying on the ground is all there is. It's not like a big tall fence or anything. And then these buildings they're not quite pyramidal in shape, but they are kind of sloped up from their base. And there's the 4 of them. And I should be over here for the video. So there's these 4 here that form this pattern, and then you can see a big trench and what looks like maybe walls there, and then these are dug out. Sorry, I need to do that so you can see. So these things that are labeled as trench are actually dug out into the ground, and they are They look like they were dug out looking to see if there was anything located there, and nothing was found, or maybe there was. You don't know, but they seem to extend the pattern out of these central 5 ruins. Like maybe they were looking to see if there was stuff there that is no longer there. So that's what you see from a distance, and looks like a gate right here that you could drive into, and each of the grid squares here on this map are about 10 meters at the scale I've expanded the map to.
All right. So we want to radio up ahead and let them know that we're coming.
Okay. So yeah, they gave you the contact number for the base's office, and so you can easily get a hold of them, and they say, "Is that you that just came up over the ridge?"
Yep, that's us.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. We'll have somebody at the gate to let you in.
Thanks very much. Which one is it? The garage?
The big one, the big one to the left.
All right, we're going in there.
Yep. Okay, so you pull up, and there's a guy at the gate. He's got a rifle slung over his shoulder, out, and he's outside the gate. There's another guy inside the gate with another rifle, but he waits for you to drive up, and he says, "Kind of, let's see the ID."
Okay.
And you hand it over, and he glances at it, and as far as he knows, you're good. He doesn't have like a scanner or anything. He just looks at it, and your names match the ones they were expecting. So he waves to his compatriot there, and that guy activates the gate, and it opens up, and you guys can drive in. He says, "Just pull into the left. Should be plenty of room in the garage. We used to have more vehicles here than it was built for, and so shouldn't have any problem parking."
All right. So when I pull into the garage, I also check to see what other vehicles are in there.
So there are a couple other Explorers. There's a couple ground trucks, and then there's 2 air cars.
Okay.
So
One of them is coolly painted as ours.
no,
Thin in the back. We park it up. Hear everything.
I can't even read my own handwriting. Oh, mess. Okay. So
Happens to me every day.
So
Well, we've been on the road for a while. Any chance we could get something to eat?
yeah. So after they close the gate, they walk over to the garage and meet you as you're parking and getting out. And he goes, "I'm Walker. There's 2 humans." He says, "I'm Walker. This is Jonas. We'll show you around and get you settled. Got a few extra rooms. You can drop your gear off there if you want, and then we'll put you in contact with Takal, who's running the place, and you can talk with her about whatever you need to talk to her about. But she's down in the dig. She'll be out shortly."
Okay.
So is Chakal some scientist, or is she just an administrator?
Yeah. Everybody here is a scientist at some level. But yeah, she's one of the lead scientists, and she's also in charge. So she does a little bit of administration, as little as she can get away with, and but spends most of her time doing the science if she can.
Okay.
So they you get settled. He first takes you over to the barracks building, which is this one. Shows you guys to some rooms, and they're basically two-person rooms, doubled up. And then after you guys drop any gear off you want to, if you even want to, he shows you this way you'll be staying. There doesn't seem to be any locks on the doors or anything. They're just open. And he takes you over to the mess hall, because by the time you get here, it's actually pretty close to lunchtime. So a lot of the staff is coming up to get some food, and so you can meet them you can meet
What's
most
for
of them.
dinner?
Nothing fancy.
Steak.
I don't know what they're cooking. Typical cafeteria.
Is there anything
food.
local?
N-
My character loves to eat new things.
Probably. There's probably something that's a Lacko dish. If it's not local per se, it's at least cooked local style. So yeah, you can definitely get something like that.
Okay.
Is
And but it's just
it
a big
all
mess hall.
humans, or-
What?
Is it all humans, or do we see some other races
Oh
here?
no. There's a mix of all the races. There's actually despite the temperature and the gravity, there's actually a large number of Usurians. Few Dralicites. Tikal is of Rusk.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other Rusks, and then some humans too. So the staff consists. There's about 15 people, at least that are there at lunch.
Okay.
So
Well, if they're there, I guess we start asking them questions about. God, dang it! I can't even read what the name was.
Parkel.
Yeah, Parkel. Yeah.
Cool.
Eru Parkel.
How we approach that? You know, if he's got compatriots, they might be a little. Do they? Does the administrator know why we're here?
uh,
Yeah, that's the
no,
question.
she knows that you guys. She vaguely does. I mean, she doesn't know the details. She just knows you're following up on the attack that happened to the stuff that they shipped back to Pale. That's
Well, we.
Okay.
and that you guys
Yeah.
are just.
Well.
They know that you're corporate investigators. That as far as they know, you're just there to learn about what's going on at the site.
Okay, I think that's where we start our
I'm
questions
from the
then.
finance and insurance division. I need to know what that stuff was that was absconded with or lost.
Well, I don't even think we need to go that far. I think we need to say, hey, this guy's interested in getting your research, and if we kind of put it that way, these guys are scientists. They'd probably be more than willing if you say, hey, they're trying to steal your research.
Unless they're double dipping.
Yeah, I think we just simply start off by asking them to tell us a bit about their operation, just like investigators would, and then start saying, so tell us about your personnel, and have you is there much turnover, and then that leads to recent folks that have left, and then you automatically just keep following up the questions.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So
I don't watch the right holovids, I guess.
Group of people.
what was that?
Do we each get our own table that we talk to a group of people?
If you want to, you can do whatever you want. You can sit together. You can go in pairs. You can split up and just circulate. And
Tom,
yeah.
I know we're just going in there to eat lunch right now, but generally throughout the day, I'm really checking out that fence and seeing if I notice anything. I don't know, like areas where the fence has been breached or it looks a little loose or something.
Okay.
Weekly. I was thinking about that same thing.
All right.
Well, is it in the hot part of the day again?
No, it's still dark.
No, it's so dark.
It won't be. It won't. The sun won't come up until tomorrow.
Well, we could go out for a nice evening stroll. Just kind
Yeah,
of
most of the work is going to be
around
done during the night because in
But
the
let's talk to everybody first.
yeah, but I mean,
because daytime is when most of the people are going to be asleep.
Yeah.
You can't be outdoors when it's too hot.
Or they'll be down in the
down the holes.
down the hole.
So all those trenches are none of them look new.
Not really new. I mean, they dug them
Because I
all.
know there was the earthquake and all.
No, they were there prior to that. So,
Okay.
so you find out that there used to be more people here when it was more active, and Streel was in the process of shutting this site down because there really wasn't much more. They had plumbed it for everything that they could. Uh, the ruin to the southwest or southeast was destroyed, basically. I mean, it was completely collapsed on itself.
Yeah.
And then it looks like it was not just nature taking its toll, but something happened to it. And whatever happened to it is what took out the corners of those other 3 buildings. The next one's over. The same type of damage was there as what was they found on the pieces of this building.
Does it look explosive to me?
It could have been.
Is it?
But
It's very, very
it
long
happened,
ago.
It happened thousands.
thousands of years ago, whatever it was. So there is weathering on top of it, but the 4th building, is completely intact. So, and it's just as old as all the other buildings. So,
And how tall is it?
They stand about 20 meters tall.
Okay.
And so you can think of them as flat-topped pyramids. They have a slight slope to them, but they don't go all the way to a point. Over that, those
Four-sided?
what?
Four-sided?
Yes, four-sided, sloped walls with a flat top, and they taper in probably at maybe like a 20-degree angle. So.
Is it opaque glass?
These aren't glass. These are stone.
Sorry.
Or something.
Okay.
No, these ones aren't glass. The glass ones are the big ones to the northeast of
Gotcha.
here.
And PGC has those.
And PGC has those, and has always had those. They were the ones who opened the route to Dixon Star and first discovered it, and that's where they first set up.
Of course you're going to see them. They're all shiny in the sun.
Yeah, exactly. So they dug the trenches after they'd explored the ruins. They dug the trenches to see if maybe there were foundations of buildings that were collapsed and hidden there. Because there was a definite geometric pattern, the 5 in a pattern, and they're very, my drawing isn't that exact, but they are very precisely aligned, like exactly down to the millimeter in dimensions in their spacing. And so, they dug the trenches there to see if they could maybe turn up foundations or anything else. But it looks like these were the only 5 buildings in this complex, whatever it was. And they collected a number of artifacts, and over the course of the last 3 or 4 years that the site's been explored.
Hey, Chicheka, I think your ancestors were really kind of OCD about straight things.
So the damage still looks like something just went right up and knocked each one of them, right?
They have no idea. They have no theories on what did it, because while they can get material off of these things, it's actually really hard, whatever it is. So they've taken samples, but you take a standard type of drill or digging tool and try to cut this stuff, and it doesn't work. And the laser cutters that they use practically bounce off it, even though it looks like it should just cut right with it. So they've managed to get a few pieces of samples off, and they've been sent back for metallurgical analysis, but nobody knows what the stuff's made of.
I'm taking sheets of wood for the Explorer.
Is it metal or is it?
Yes,
what is it?
It's stone, it's metal, it's glass, it's ceramic. They don't know. It has
Transparent aluminum.
That's not transparent. But it has bits and properties of all of those things, kind of all melded together.
Wow.
So, which is why it's in pretty good shape. Getting into the ruin that was not busted was actually a major endeavor. So Then they dug out around unobtainium, yeah. They dug out around this one because it was mostly collapsed to see if they could find, anything. And they dug down about, 3 or 4 meters. Actually, that hole is, and the foundations are there, but that's about it. And they were in the process of closing down the site. Personnel had gone home. They were starting to ship stuff back, and there was an earthquake about 3 or 4 weeks ago that opened up a little basically descent tunnel right there. A hole opened up. It just shook everything loose, I guess. And
So that was after the pirate attack.
no, this would have been before the pirate attack.
Okay.
Yeah, this would have been before
But
that.
it's after the personnel already left.
But it was after the person had left. This is a very recent occurrence.
Okay.
And so
we barely had time to get here after this earthquake.
yeah, the earthquake would have happened just before our gameplay started, just before you guys headed off to Rosedale. It was about when it would have, probably about a week before that is when it would have happened. So it's fairly recent, and so it was a shaft that dropped down 60 meters into the ground, straight down, and they've rigged up a little like elevator type thing so they can get in and out, but it's about 4 meters wide and I guess 3 meters wide, and it goes down into a room underneath this building, and then there is a passageway out of that room going towards this building, but it's caved in. But just before the cave in, there's a branch off that goes towards this one, and there is that one is where they found. That's where they're all working now, because the room down here under this building is fairly empty. There wasn't actually much there, but this one looks. If they had to guess what it was, it looks like some sort of a control center.
So did the earthquake actually damage these buildings to open them up, or
no? It damaged the floor here. It caused whatever. Well, it caused whatever was here to collapse, opening that up. But otherwise, the buildings survived no problem.
So was the floor made out of the same material as the buildings?
It wasn't right there. It was something else. Or it was, and it was separate and just dropped through.
It might have been a doorway.
Yeah, there may have been a doorway or something. That's their guess.
Yeah.
That the original building may have had some sort of, this may have been an elevator shaft or something that went down. But
question: with any artifact found right after the earthquake, and that were they on the transport that was attacked?
Yes. There were some of the things from this what we're calling
Recent dig.
the control center, the recent dig that were on that. They were very pristine. I don't know what they were for, but they were, technology devices, maybe data cubes, maybe we have no idea. They have no power, so we can't figure out, what they were doing, what they were, but and so they were sent back.
That are still here?
What?
Have you found any more like it here?
They have some here. They show them to you, and they're these devices. There's some crystalline structure to them, some metal structure to them. It looks like a fusing of some sort of a crystal and metal technology. Maybe there's something's a display. They have a lot of different little devices, and And of course, this is coming as you get started. Everybody starts gathering around. This is like not one person telling you this. This is like everybody's chiming in and talking over each other as they get to a
Oh,
bit that they
they're all geeking out
Oh,
on
but
us.
they're totally geeking out on you guys.
So did you find any bodies?
No bodies.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Nobody has ever found a body.
How about
Question.
pictures?
What
What
was
do they
that?
look like?
You know, that's the other thing. There's no like decorations or anything either. It's
No hieroglyphics.
Iconography.
no hieroglyphics, no etchings on the walls.
So we don't even know what a tetrarch looked like.
No, nobody does. That's one of the big questions.
I really want to know that. I was watching this HoloVid show late one night, and they swore they looked like Vrosk.
Oh yeah.
The guy, Angel, what's the guy's name again?
Oh, Parkel.
Parkel. What did Parkel do here?
Parkel. Oh, he was he mainly worked with the with kind of cataloging what was here. He was
Oh, great.
he was keeping track of, you know, trying to identify stuff and, you know, find things that were similar and group them together and almost if you were a biologist, you'd say he was a taxidermist that was trying to classify things. But
that's the guy that like stuffs them.
yeah, well, then identifies them and
He
determines
was
their
just trying to
type.
classify. Did he leave on good terms?
Oh yeah, he got an offer. It happens. I mean, you know, he got an offer from Streel. He's not the first to go. Well, probably won't be, or from PGC. They indicate one of the Dralicites that are there. Mitsu here. They came over. We got her from PGC not long after he left. And it happens.
Mitsu.
I mean, yeah. So
I hate to put it this way, but did anyone ever do like an audit of the inventory and the collection after he left?
The problem is, if he was cataloging it, he could have just left that off the list.
Yeah, I know.
That's the part that I was thinking of. I was like, damn, he cataloged everything. So he could have just taken whatever he wanted. And he's like, oh, yeah, that left off the list.
Who does this job now?
that would be Andrew over there.
That's the guy we should talk to.
So, well, he pokes up. He goes, "I do now." One of the humans.
Did you get any records from him?
Oh yeah, and we did actually go through it. As far as we can tell, everything that was listed was there, and nobody noticed, you know, anything unlisted. He was actually pretty good about it. It's entirely possible he took a copy of the list with him. But as far as we know, nothing physically left.
Okay.
You know, it's corporate security here, but it's also scientist security. So I mean, that's the impression. They don't say that, but that's the impression you get in talking to people. Is that, you know?
Have you guys ever heard the word gold?
That's the tetrarch.
There you go.
Okay, just wondering, you know, funky stone from another planet and okay, sorry. Late night.
It could happen.
Tom, who is security around here?
What was that?
Who is security around here?
The two guys you met.
Oh, Walker and Jonas, that's it?
Yeah.
Are they the ones that handle the laser towers too?
The laser towers are automated.
Okay.
How do they know not to shoot you?
We don't go outside when they're on.
Really?
Outside the fence, they're not designed to shoot into the compound.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, I felt really bad when you said scientist security because I know how bad that really is.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah, I've been on some digs. So.
Um,
That whole loose lips sink ships thing.
yeah. So they, the other thing, and this is actually, Takal says this, and she goes, yeah, the one thing we have, the interesting thing about this control center is right in the middle of it is a perfect miniature replica of the Great Pyramids over by Point Glass. And we
Really?
think this site's somehow connected to them. Yeah.
Are they made of glass too?
Yes, they're like a miniature version of them.
I'd like to see that.
Question. I
Something
have
tells
another
me
question.
these are weapons, because
Um,
that would make them cool.
let's work on the assumption that Parkel knew that you guys had found something, which is why he knew to send the ship after us, or after that shuttle.
Right.
How would he have found out about it? I mean, would you guys have communicated it? And, like, were you overexcited and didn't go through coded channels, or did you tell a lot of other people, or have you been in contact with other science groups?
So everybody starts thinking about it. He goes, we probably mentioned it once or twice back in, at least that we found something new. I mean, we rotate back to town regularly. We get a few days off and head back because it's, kind of isolated out here. So,
How many other digs are there on Lako that are doing this kind of stuff?
There's a couple dozen that Streel runs that I know of. There might be more. PGC has even more. They've got on the order of 100 or so.
So this
the
is
closest
where
one to the glass pyramid?
archaeologists come to cut their teeth, man.
What was that?
Is this where archaeologists come to cut their teeth?
Oh yeah, there's digs everywhere on the planet. There's all kinds of stuff, and new stuff is found regularly. And we open a new dig site, and
You guys get to public. Okay, we would probably know this a little bit. Do they
yes,
get to publish
they do.
like a National Geographic?
Yeah, there are journals. There are whole journals devoted to Lako.
Is there but popular press like
Yeah,
National Geographic
there is
team?
some popular press type stuff. This discovery is too new to have made it into any of that. Most likely, but there is definitely popular press about it because it is probably the most well, it is by far the most tetrarch heavy site in the frontier. Some of the other planets might have some tetrarch ruins. Some of the planets don't at all. But Lako seems to be covered in them.
Well,
Right.
do you think maybe we could
The
possibly?
closest one to the glass pyramid?
What was that?
Is
No,
this
it's
site
not.
the closest-
It isn't.
Right.
There are other ones that are closer to it.
Has any reporters been around this site?
Not that we know of. No, it's just been a corporate.
Nothing's been featured in the popular press.
Not that I can think of. Yeah. So not that they know of. So
All right.
yeah, and they're more than happy to take you down. If you
Okay.
want to go down to see the thing.
I'd like
They'll
to,
take you on a grand tour if you want.
but I'd also like our tech guys to maybe check out your computer system and maybe the cataloging system.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to figure out how they come out and if there is maybe Parkel recognized some piece as being important from his work. Like, he's looking at all the artifacts because he's cataloging them. He might have a good idea of what some of them do that he mentioned to you guys.
It's possible, but if he is, he kept it a secret for years. I mean, he worked here for several years, and some of us worked with him on a previous dig. So,
Well, some people
it's
like to
entirely
keep
possible. And you're right, it does. I mean, it happens. I mean,
they like to keep things close to the vest and
Yeah.
work on a theory.
yeah,
And then he sees something, and then hey, wait a minute, it all fits together.
yeah, it's possible. I mean, none of the artifacts left here except to go straight to Streel. But it's possible that somebody mentioned something and it got back to him.
All right.
And somebody says, yeah, somebody mentions, yeah, I've talked to him occasionally, but the last time I talked to him was about 3 months ago. So, as far and nobody at least admits to having talked to him since this discovery was made.
You guys ever visit each other's digs?
No, not very often. Sometimes if there's, something, every once in a while, a single expert in some area will go off to another one, if they're, really stumped. But for the most part, Streel keeps to Streel and PGC keeps to themselves too. So we can usually find an expert, or we'll hire them out from under the other company.
Any consultants?
No. Well, occasionally an academic will have an academics come in from one of the universities, Triad Institute of Tech or University of Bangalore, but
Any of them guys visited here recently, or
not since this happened. This is actually fairly new. Actually, if word got out, it's probably one of us being over exuberant to talking about it with friends.
Okay.
Don't you guys have non-disclosure waivers and whatnot?
Yeah, that stuff never works.
Tremendously
especially amongst
unprofessional.
academics, man? Publish or perish.
I tell you what, guys, I want to go down the hole.
I do too. I want to see the mini pyramid.
Okay.
I like how you're saying that the non-disclosure never works, because in my experience, it never does either.
Yeah,
Well,
it never does.
SanDisk exists because iOmega wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the ideas walked away from iOmega and became SanDisk. Oh well. That's another life. We'll go on.
You should probably wait till Angel gets back.
Yeah, I'm actually setting up the next map right now.
In a previous job, I was a reporter at a business publication, and ways we get stories is we would just kind of wander down to the building, and one of the guys had a pack of cigarettes on him, and we just sit out there acting like they were smoking, and then you would just listen to all the guys that non-disclosure says you shouldn't be talking about anyway outside the building, and that's how we got a lot of our stories.
Wow.
Sounds pretty effective.
Something you might mention to anybody who takes smoking breaks if you have sensitive information.
Well, I'll tell you what, in the military, that is where everything gets discussed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally everything. So there'd be times I'd go hang out in the smoke pit even though I don't smoke.
Yeah.
Just so that it was kind of more of a schmoozing thing.
Well, that's what we were talking about yesterday. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago on the other Discord channel? What would
Right.
one like a Verusk do to get ahead if he had a boss who was a Drolosite? Would he hang out in the steam room and basically be turning himself into a lobster?
gets kind of interesting when you start thinking those things through.
Yep. Okay, so they take you down, and you have to go down like 3 at a time, just because it's not that much. Actually, no, you can go down about 5 at a time with the contraption they've rigged up. I'm going to move you guys over to this map. All right, so this room, can you all see the map?
Yeah.
Okay, so this room here, oh wait, hold on. Gotta switch my tool so I can point again. So this is the room you descend into. The contraption is down in the corner over here. And this room looks like it's actually just empty. It's just a big empty room, except for the hole in the ceiling. There is a doorway here. It's just really an archway that goes into a tunnel that runs down here, and this is collapsed. Whatever. They haven't had time to get stuff to dig it out yet. That's conveniently timed, that comment. No explosives. And this is, you're probably, this building here is probably 40 or 50 meters below the surface. So it's a long ways down. And they tell you it's interesting, there's something about this because they attempted ground penetrating radar on the site and got nothing. So there was, and it wasn't that like it was blocked, it was like they didn't detect anything. So there's something weird going on down here, which is why it was a really big surprise to have this tunnel open up, because they thought they had eliminated that possibility. So then this is a down slope. Yeah, I didn't unblock that, the text there. That little arrow is downward sloping, and so, and the squares here are 5-meter squares. So over the course of this 20 meters or so, it drops another 5 meters underground. So it's a pretty steep slope. There's another site.
Are there corresponding chambers?
Hello?
What was that? You cut off.
Are there corresponding chambers like the Great Pyramid?
Like at the Great Pyramid? Nothing
Yeah, I mean,
know.
if this is a reproduction of the Great Pyramid,
No, the reproduction
smaller,
is
I'm
just,
wondering.
no, it's the reproduction's in this central room. So
Okay.
there's a side tunnel that goes off. It is also blocked, and then there's into this thing that they're calling the control center.
Gotcha.
And what it is there is a, along each side, kind of curved in an arc. I didn't draw it in, but over here and over here, that if this was a frontier technology, it would be like a bank of consoles or something. It's these technologies, but these things are like built into it, and they can't separate them. And then in the middle, in the central 4 or 5 meters, is a plan of the complex around the Great Pyramids. And so, like the Great Pyramid, the really big one that's 300 meters tall at the site, is about about not even that. It's probably it's probably 20 centimeters tall here, because the complex is spread out over a large area, and this is everything. The distances and everything are to scale.
Okay, so guys, we got to go find the staff of Ra.
That's what I was thinking.
We got to find the power source. Well, I mean, what happens if we just push some buttons or put whatever's levers or things?
Yeah,
I don't think that's our job.
Levers in this tech? Buttons and levers?
This is not what we're researching, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So-
right here.
No,
That blockage.
the one
that
thing
would
they
go
need
to
to,
the other room, right?
Yeah, we're getting punchy. Can we push buttons, or do the scientists like, no, don't
no,
touch
they
it.
don't let you touch anything.
Oh.
There's little sticky notes on places.
Oh, hey, the up and the down, they're always backwards. That's why you can't fly the ship.
That's right.
But no,
Hold on, Tom.
it's it's funny. Well, actually,
Right here.
Yeah.
That leads to the other room that was directly across from this, right?
That's their guess. They have no idea because they
And
haven't
those-
gotten through.
Dude, I say we blast it. If we can't blast through the plug, we gotta blast around the plug.
Wait a second. The control center is where that center room was, right?
Yes, the
center
control center is directly under the center building.
building. So where does this go?
Who knows? It's blocked.
Both of those tunnels are blocked, right?
Yeah, both of those tunnels are blocked, and you have no
Right,
idea
but
how
that
far
one
they're
looks like it
blocked.
goes straight across, like where the other building is. That one doesn't go to another building according to their above schematics.
Yeah,
That's
And-
true.
yeah, they know that. They said we're not sure. Maybe it goes in turns and connects up somehow, or we do know it extends. We have been able to get a little bit of penetration through the debris that we know there's an open area probably 5 or 10 meters beyond the beginning of the plug. But
Have you
In-
tried
in
micro
both cases.
robots to crawl through and
well, no, it's pretty sealed. It's like debris. It's either collapsed or maybe it was placed, but it's almost like
Oh,
it's
so-
cemented in.
so it's not rubble?
No, it's not rubble. Or if it is rubble, it's rubble that has fused over
Mm.
millennia. And no, you couldn't squish the hydraulicite through it.
Now they're trying to get out all delicate like, right?
Man, we need a
Of course they are. They're
sonic.
archaeology.
We need a sonic rotor rooter thing.
Now,
Okay.
the one thing you do notice, and you didn't notice it at first, but the talking about power, and one of the scientists kind of perks up at that, is that the area is lit, and not by Frontier technology.
Oh.
Oh, cool.
What's this place look like in the electromagnetic spectrum?
Well, in the visible spectrum, it looks like a hallway.
No, but like, is this? Can we even get radio reception down
No,
here?
you
or
do
is
not
there-
get radio reception.
Okay, but is there a lot of other radio static,
Um,
radio energy going on?
There is some, and it seems like white noise.
Can
But it seems to also be, you go up the tunnel and you can't detect it. So, it's contained within the underground area.
This
can
thing's
you
fascinating, man? Or at least
can you show us where the artifacts were that were taken out of here? Like where they found them?
Well, some of them were along the top here of the control, what we're calling the control panels. Some were they point to what looks to you like shelving off in the corners. He said there was some stuff there. There's something that looks like it was a sealed cabinet that is no longer sealed. He goes, we just got into that a week ago, and that stuff's all still upstairs in the storage bunker, getting ready to be transported back. But there was some more in there, and
What do these artifacts look like?
some of them are just little mini pyramids. Some of them are cubes. Some of them look. I mean, a couple of them look like some sort of a handheld device of with a screen, because there's a big crystal slab on the front of it. And they're guessing that, I mean, this has been known for a while from a lot of artifacts, but the tetrarchs were probably four-fingered, like 3 fingers and a thumb type hands, just because 4 seems to be a very common number in a lot of the things they found, and the grips seem to have, like you'd have a contoured grip for a human hand. This was a contoured grip for something that had 3 fingers, or at least they're guessing that's what it is. But
And why they're not called the Pentarchs?
yeah, maybe. But he says when we first came down here, this place was pitch black. But after about a day, all these little glow points that you see in the walls that are illuminating. It started coming on, and it took about 2 days, but then they got to the brightness that you see here, and they've been on ever since. They don't ever shut off.
Okay. Did you guys like do holograms of this entire place
Oh,
before
yeah.
you started touching stuff?
Yeah,
Can we
we've
see
got.
those? Can we superimpose that around here, or that?
We can take you up and show you in the upstairs in the VR center. We can't project it in here.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
If these things seem to be responding to
Motion.
bioenergy, maybe, or motion,
Mm-hmm.
how many people have you had down here at a time?
We've had almost everybody at one point or another, but probably
No, at the same time.
at the same time, probably about 10 or 12 at one
Do you ever
point.
think about getting more people?
Yeah, how many scientists can you fit into a room?
No, but I mean, if it's responding to bioenergy.
Yeah.
Is it, or is it
Mhm.
something else that's going on?
Yeah.
It stayed on even since they've left. Stays on all the time.
Yeah, but I mean,
Maybe they're coming back.
oh god, they're gonna land on the
Well, I
you
was
guys-
thinking since they're lined up so well, I mean, it could be like their spaceship lands on 5 points. You know, there's like 5 landing things, one in the middle and 4 corners that just land perfectly on those.
I kind of think we should get our tech people to look through the computer system, and we're not going to figure this out. They probably have John and Angel have a better chance of figuring this out than we do. They've got some technical.
Yeah, but will they let us touch the
First of all,
Well, the computers at least to see if figure out how the.
First of all, they're probably quantum computers because that would be a natural fit for a base 4. Quantum computing is base 4. So, we could probably guess that part.
Well, they also could just have 4 toes. 4 eyes, yeah. And you feel bad for the kid with glasses, and they call him 8 eyes.
Well, I know is 4-eyed.
So why don't we get our tech guys working on things? Because I don't know if we're going to be able to do it unless we could try to see, if we maybe could try to figure out a connection with the artifacts that were taken with the import of it being down here. But I don't, since this is in Streel control, I don't know why Pangalactic would want it if it opens up something here.
Right, but if it's,
See, this is the thing I'm worried about. I'm worried that these artifacts
are happening, or that are causing effects at the pyramids, or vice versa.
I'm worried that these artifacts are controllers for this room. Are they're somehow, and possibly some of the controlling factors have to do with relationships between artifacts and things in the room and stuff.
Well,
I would bet that there's, they ship stuff away.
Yeah.
Here, these are the people that find them and stuff. They ship them away. There's got to be some bigger wig PGC and Streel guys that don't swap companies, that are a lot more secure, and they're the ones that actually get to turn these things on and see what they do.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're trying to stuff happen, we're not going to find out about it down here. We're going to have to look up there to figure out how the information was getting to PGC that they need to steal these particular artifacts.
Is the miniature pyramids on like any movable platform?
No, they're built into the floor.
But they match the other site.
Exactly, including their orientation on the floor here relative to the ones over there.
Right. So are any of these lit up, or You know,
Not at the moment, no.
have they ever been lit up?
No.
See, I really wonder if this is either like a monitoring room or a control room or something like that. And so they would want to, it's like if they can use this to see into pyramids that they couldn't see into, or who knows?
Maybe we
I'm
could
wondering, did you already say something about this? Did they check the floors of these other ruins to see if any of those have, you know, weak spots that could be knocked to underground?
After this one collapsed, they did. Because like I said, they had tried the ground penetrating radar originally and didn't detect anything. And then, but after this, they went back over it, the other buildings, and as far as they can tell, there's not. That tunnel is the only one down. But it's entirely possible that something exists that they're not detecting, just like they never detected this one. But they did look, yes.
Can I make an intuition check just to see if there's anything weird or out of the ordinary that they might have not have mentioned?
Sure.
Like maybe they're not telling us that may be relevant to this.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't make it.
There's nothing. You don't get anything. They're completely being honest with you.
But nothing comes to mind.
Yep.
Now, the doorway to the control room, it was just an archway or was it an actual door?
It was just an archway. It was just an open door. It wasn't sealed. No.
Okay. And there's no other, like, nothing else that looks like a sliding door or anything else on any of the other walls?
No, the walls are in this room are perfectly smooth all the way around. He says, yeah, we've gone at it with infrared, ultraviolet. As far as we can tell, we're surrounded by rock.
And what about the ceiling?
Same thing. Above and below. But
Have you done anything crazy? Have you done anything crazy like pretend like the artifacts are action figures and move them around this miniature pyramid area?
No, I don't think we tried to do that. There were some things that were in among the pyramid, the floor, the plan on the floor, but they didn't look like they were like placed there or anything. They almost looked like they fell off the thing at some point in the distant past and just had been, wiggled over into position. There was no real orientation. Like I said, we've got hollows of everything as it was when we first came in. So we can show you all of that if you want to see it.
Can I make a perception check on that? Or intuition check?
You really want to have a magic roll, don't you?
If you roll enough times, one
Okay,
of them
let's
will
search
be
for
good.
secret doors.
Oh, get the 10-foot pole!
Get the 10-foot pole. Gotta search for traps.
Dude, I just want to get our demolitions guy to, just let him place a couple of charges on these block passages.
Well, that's a pretty decent question, though. Can you stand where the sun would be rising and light a flashlight, see if it shines something?
You could try that.
Okay.
Give it a try. Do it. It worked in Indiana Jones.
Give it a try. Do I got to roll?
No, you don't have to roll for that.
Okay.
You can you go over to the eastern, what would be the eastern horizon, and you can't get, well, because you have to be in front of the console, but you get your flashlight and you shine it and you move it what would be north and south and up and down a little bit, and as far as you can tell, nothing happens. I mean, the light glints off the crystals that are the glass pyramids, replicas, but nothing magical seems to happen. You get a little bit of a light show because it is highly refractive. You almost wonder if it's diamond, what the pyramids are made out of, but because you get that kind of a refractive, it definitely has a really high index of refraction like diamond does, and so the light scatters out from it really cool, but it doesn't seem to do anything.
You guys should make replicas of these and sell them at the starport to all the people when they're leaving. I
Hey.
survived Laco.
What if I don't know, maybe something as crazy as the axial tilt of the planet is different than it used to be, so the sun, the equator is not the same place, and east wasn't exact east at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
One of the scientists says, that's a pretty good idea. We'll work on that and start being. He goes, we got a slightly different beam.
Have we annoyed the eggheads yet?
Yeah. Yeah.
When we shine the light, if anything
Like-
was shining inside the real pyramid.
Nope.
No, though.
Was there anything in this town that was similar to the artifacts that you were finding? I'm just trying to find out that what he would have seen that would have told him, hey, that artifact is different
I mean,
or special.
We got to see that hologram.
Yeah, let's look
Yeah.
at the hologram.
Well,
Look at the
I think
hologram.
it's movie night time. Let's go watch holograms.
yeah. It's early. It's afternoon at this point. Mid-afternoon. You go back up.
As long as it's air
And some of them
conditioned.
stay down there, and they're still doing stuff. They're still working with it, trying to figure out, cataloging it, trying. They are.
Has anyone left your staff?
Has anyone left the staff?
Yeah, since this
No,
has been found.
No, this is all. We've all been here. We brought in a couple more people. We're shorter staff, but once we found this, we brought some people back. But they'd all been here before. They just came back out once we had something new to look at. So we're looking at probably another 6 to 8 months, and then we really will shut this down unless we find something else. They're just, we've got a new thing to work on, but we're rapidly exhausting possibilities.
Well, I'm out of options.
So you guys go back up, and you they take you into the room in the. I guess it would be the room that has the mess hall in it, and the kitchen. It's also got offices and things like that. And they have a small hollow table there that they can then project their images onto. And so they go in there, dim the lights out, turn it on, and the room comes up. Basically just like you saw it, except there's a lot of other smaller artifacts lying around, little devices of some sort or another. There's some flat crystal sheets. There are the devices they described to you. There's other things that, as far as you can tell, they're just decoration. They may be, desk pieces or something that people have on their desk for decoration, because they have, there's nothing you can tell as to what they would be. But you can see all of that stuff, and they'll describe it all. They describe it all to you. You can zoom in and see stuff, and they say, yeah, a lot of these things are similar to stuff we found in other locations, other dig sites. Some of them are unique to this one. They've never been seen before, but and nobody knows what they do. We've been studying this stuff for 40, 50 years. We've never figured out how to get power into any of them.
Now they're powered up. That's weird.
Yeah, just the lights, as far as we can tell. They started glowing, and that is definitely something unique to this site, because that's never happened at any other site before.
Have they ever gone underground before in any other sites?
Yeah, there has been discoveries of other underground systems. I mean, there's some sites that have huge underground complexes in them. This one is actually fairly sparse as far as that goes, compared to other sites where we find them. Usually when we find underground sites, there's, they're closely spaced rooms and things like that. But these are very much spread out. And they seem to, at least the two we found are under the two sets of ruins on the surface. So, you know, as you guys were maybe speculating, we think there might be rooms under the other 3, but we can't get to them yet if they are there. That's something we're going to be working on in the next little while. That's actually coming up. We've got some gear coming in next week, in fact, to start trying to get through that rubble or that seal on those rooms.
Now, from a techie's eyes,
Uh-huh.
is there anything there that looks like it would like fit into like a slot?
No.
Or,
Yeah,
So
we looked, we tried even.
my role was just to look at all the artifacts and see if I can perceive anything that looks
Out of place.
yeah, or like it could have been important or
Not. There's nothing that really stands out to you. There's definitely some unique items there that they're like, but they may be just unique to that room. They're one of a kind. They're definitely multiples of some of the devices. There's like 3 or 4 things that look basically identical.
Do we have a list of the items that went missing?
Nothing went missing. They tried
Yeah.
to steal. Do we have a list of the items they tried to steal?
No, that's true. We don't know what they actually found on the ship.
Yeah, so no, you don't have a detailed manifest of what was on that shuttle you rescued. But
Do we have a detailed manifest of what they sent to be shipped?
there's one available. It's just you guys have
Okay.
never accessed it. Yeah, you've never asked for it specifically.
While everyone's looking at the artifact, can I look to see if there's anything out of place in the room itself, like a camera that shouldn't be there or that kind of thing?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and roll. See if anything steps out. We'll go for a roll for this one.
No.
I'm wondering if there's
yeah.
I'm wondering if there's anything that was found on that ship that was in this room.
Was there anything on the shuttle that was in this room?
Yeah, the
Yes.
recovered. Ooh. Okay.
There were some of the items from this room were sent back on that shipment. Tikal tells you that.
As out of
She goes,
place
yeah,
item.
Well, I assume that was when we sent a shipment back. Shortly out, we holovited everything. And then we gathered the items up. The unique items are still here.
Okay.
But the things that we had duplicates of, some of those were sent back to Pale. So because yeah, like you guys were saying, maybe something goes in somewhere, and so we kept everything that we kept at least one of every type of item that we found, just in case. And after it had all been cataloged and so a bunch of it went back to Terrell's Landing, and then was going to head back to Pale as quickly as possible. So I'm assuming they were on that shuttle. Because that's the only shipment we've sent out recently. The last one was a couple months ago. Before this.
Do any of the artifacts connect to each other? The small ones.
No, they seem to all be independent.
Interesting.
So after you've been looking at the VR for a while, to the holograms of the site and talking about it, one of the other scientists comes rushing into the room, kind of breathless. She's Tikal, down there now. Something's happening.
Yeah, we're all going down.
See,
Yeah.
we got a lot more people down there.
That's right.
It's called science.
Let's go do science, guys.
So,
Science.
Oh, now he's gonna blind us.
All right, so you guys all head back. You know, there's a ripple of excitement going through, and she's trying to get details. She goes, the model of the big pyramid is glowing, and you get down there. That's about all you can get out of them. And so you get down there, and it's very faint, but like they can't turn the lights off anymore. But because they don't have any control of them, the lights are always on. But you can see a faint glow in the heart of the model of the largest of the pyramids.
Dude, hit it with more flashlights.
Somebody should be checking this
What's
actual
happening at
pyramids.
the real pyramid? What do we call somebody there, or can we? I know we're breaking rules there if we talk between PVC and. But what do our satellites say? You know, what's going on at that place?
Is this going to be like us calling them?
Calling what? You cut out there right at the end.
It's like we're calling them up and asking bridges.
So
what's going on with your pyramids?
So yeah, everybody's kind of excited. They're all looking around, and they've got scanners out, and they're taking readings. And as far as I can tell, it's just a glow. It's just a visible light glow. It's white light, but it is glowing. And after a few minutes, one of them says it's getting brighter, real slowly, but it's getting brighter. And he says, "Yeah, it was, you know, it was a."
Is it sunrise?
No, it's actually local midnight. And the pyramids aren't very far. I mean, they're they're 100 or so kilometers away from you, so you're not that far away from them. But at this point, you're, let's see, you drove through the night, or you slept through the night, you drove, so it's a little bit past local midnight here. You're getting onto, you've got another 10 or 12 hours till dawn.
Well, what do you
I
guys
got a
think?
bad feeling about this.
I say we shine the flashlight some more and keep calling the mothership.
Yeah. So you have to go back up to make a call. But he says it's gone up about 1% in the last, well, since it started, since we first noticed it. It came on moderately. I mean, we were looking around, shining the light, trying the experiment with that, and we had finished that up. Nothing seemed to have happened. Looked away, looked back, and there was a faint glow there, and it's gone up about 1% in the last half hour since that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, if you turn on, like light sensors, can you detect any modulation in the frequency or anything like that?
Yeah, not right now. There isn't. It's just a steady.
Okay.
It's just a steady glow.
Okay.
So you'll have to go out. She sends someone out to make a call after you guys mention what's happening at the big pyramid. She sends one of the scientists out to go call back to headquarters to see what they can find out for you.
Okay.
Is it warm to the touch or no?
Nope, it's just glowing.
I say pull out the flashlight again and make more sparklies. And what happens if you shine the flashlight on the control panels?
Maybe it's not that there's a lot of people down here, but a lot of different people come down here. More different people.
Ah. Designed to open up to variety, huh?
Well, like if you get a lot of the same people over and over, it realizes there's not many. But if you get a lot of unique people coming, it's realizing that more and more people are down here, so more and more systems are unlocked.
How many Rusts have come down here?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 4. There's 6. There's 4 on staff. We had someone from headquarters come out when we first opened up, and now Chicheka. You're the 6th.
To check it, do you know any, like old folk songs? Maybe it's.
Let's do some Tai Chi. Tai Chi.
Why don't we have him
maybe
do
sing
a
to
dance where he puts, 4 legs in the air to... I don't know.
So, as you're down, kind of just watching, and there's no perceptible change in the time you're down there. It's only being detected by the sensors. Your eyes aren't sensitive enough to notice the change. And but after a few minutes, the person that Takal sent up comes back, and she says, "We've got. I mean, you can see the pyramids for quite a ways. You don't have to be at the site to see them. The city of Point Glass you can see them from there. And so they said they called in, and as far as anyone can tell, there's nothing going on at the main site, at the actual pyramid site. So whatever it is seems to be local to us at the moment.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
They now have Streel's going to have someone watching it. They want us to report in on any changes, and they will keep an eye on the main site.
All right.
This almost feels like watching a pot boil.
It does after a while. People start to drift off. Now that the excitement is worn off.
All right, Checheka.
I was about
Do
to
it
say,
again.
Fork. See if vibrations do anything to it.
Good vibrations.
I think they have to be in tune.
Good.
That doesn't do anything either.
No.
The light gets
And the light
dimmer.
goes out.
But did they try hitting it with a tuning fork?
They've tried a few things, but
Let it.
they hadn't thought about sound particularly.
Okay, I don't like that you rolled. What I do? What happened?
What about wind? Somebody blow on them.
All right, about this point, they start shuffling you guys out.
We have totally annoyed the eggheads. They're like, okay,
All right, you're done.
take the amateurs out of here.
We might have annoyed them. For us, their pyramid wouldn't be glowing.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
That may
Right.
be true.
Right.
Yeah, we all know.
No scientific evidence that we had anything to do with that.
We all know as soon as we leave, they're gonna try blowing on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Happy birthday to
Pyramid.
All right, so Rennie, you wanted to go inspect the perimeter. You still want to do
Yes.
that? All
Yes,
right.
I do.
I
So-
like that idea.
all
I'll
right.
walk around with him.
Okay, so you guys go for a walk, and there's actually a footpath all the way around the perimeter. You're probably not the first person to walk the perimeter. People probably jog it in the morning or in the evening because they don't want to go outside the perimeter. So
Yeah.
As long as we don't run into ED 209.
So yeah, how long is this? 10, 20, 30,
What are you
40,
doing
50,
practice
60,
on private
70,
property?
90, 100.
I'm curious about the perimeters of each of these ruins.
That can be another good one. Just go check out each one of the buildings.
Yeah, a loop inside this is almost half a kilometer. So
We run it twice, you get a kilometer in.
yeah, basically, yep. So Yeah, as far as you can tell, there's nothing going on outside the building, the ruins. But you walk the perimeter, and as far as you can tell, it seems to be intact. I mean, it's not anything super fancy. It's just coiled barbed wire. It's about 1 meter tall, so it's large coils. And there's a little ladder that goes up the outside of each of those, what are effectively towers at the corners. They're 5 meters tall. And no, they're 3 meters tall. So they're like small shipping containers, and so 10 feet, 3 meters. You climb up on one, and one thing you notice is there's cabling that runs down the side and then goes underground. And there are places you can see where it was dug, but it looks like they've laid like conduit, and it all runs back to what is the tech room here. It all runs back to this building.
Okay.
Is that cabling buried in any spots? Or?
Yeah, it's buried almost everywhere. It goes into the ground. There's a little bit of conduit sticking out of the ground there, and then they've kind of dug it so that people aren't tripping over it or running over it.
I wonder if somebody, how would we search for this to see if somebody maybe has tapped it so that they can see what's being, because it's probably communications and stuff.
Well, it looks like it's control for the lasers because it runs right up to the lasers.
I have a question.
And possibly power as well.
As a scout, like I've got some actual knowledge. I'm gonna just do like a 360 the entire site, looking around. If I was gonna observe this, how do I get this thing here? How do I get it to do the little
long click?
mark?
Just hold it down.
If I was gonna observe that right there, is there any place outside the facility, within like a little bluff or something, a mile, kilometer away or something?
Yeah, there are. There's a couple.
That'd be a good place to hide. What would be the best?
So there's one probably off in the closest one is probably off in this direction. The best one to see it would probably be off this way, but it's a little further away. It's probably half a kilometer or a kilometer away. But it has a direct line of sight. The one over this way, you'd have to be looking past this guy.
So what if this?
Well, then we'll go on the one on the right. I kind of want to go out there.
Okay.
Yeah, but what if somebody has set it up to where they can turn off said turret because they've hacked these things, and then they could come in, do their will, and then walk away with nobody knowing that they came into the perimeter?
They'd still have to get through those fences.
The gate or the barbed wire.
But the barbed wire is pretty large coiled.
Well,
that's not
large coiled, but also
wire.
Moderately
if
dense.
It's taking the World War II, it's really...
Yeah, you're not gonna shimmy through it very easily.
Yeah, no, I've had to deal with that once. Now over here, is that an opening?
Oh yeah, it's like a blasted hole, it's a hole in the side of the building. If the building is collapsed or been destroyed or something.
You know what? With it being dark, I would like to take my IR goggles and just kind of inspect the floors and everything of these ruins, the edges, of the perimeters with the IR goggles, see if any, bright spots are visible.
Make a perception roll for me.
Okay. 31.
All right.
What is my perception?
It doesn't matter. That's good enough. So this edge and this edge of this corner are just slightly warmer than the surrounding.
Oh.
I was gonna
Yeah,
ask
that's
you,
where the control
ask
that's
you
where the
that.
control room is.
Yeah, down under there is where the control room is. It's almost exactly centered under that building.
And so we've got some kind of heat radiating out of there.
Is the heat changing over time, getting warmer, or is
Not that
it?
you can note. I mean, it's warmer than the rest of the building, and it's been dark for almost 20 hours at this point, and the sun set this direction. So
We should be monitoring, like, hey, is it getting warmer? Like, the pyramid down there in the model was glowing.
Well, tell the scientists. Maybe they can measure the 1% if it's going up in 1% as well.
Yeah, let's do that.
yeah, so you get a hold of somebody, and they're like, really? And they come over and they look. They take your goggles and they look at it and they go, yeah, you're right. And then they go back and go and about 10 minutes later they come with some cameras and they set them up. One right here, one right here, and then they set one up way back over here for a kind of a longer distance view. And they and there's a little portable computer they hook up to them and they start recording. And
Okay.
so he goes, that was good, fine, thanks. And they're all they're talking coefficients of heat transfer and all kinds of stuff, and it goes right over your head. But they seem to be quite excited.
Show you a thermal. I got a thermal detonator here.
Now the floor
That's just a rock.
inside. Inside the ruins, are the floors all clean and smooth?
Yeah, they are actually. They were
I just armed it.
okay. The areas that is something else they told you. There was a bit of dust down there. That was all cleaned out, bagged, and sent back for analysis.
Okay, and in each one of the ruins that
dirt.
Well, because it was yeah, because it was like it wasn't dirt. It was like more like dust, but it was pretty thick. So yeah, they saved it. They took samples and sent it back for analysis. So
if I let you guys come clean my house, you'd haul the dirt away and do it all for free?
not unless your house is 10,000-year-old ruins.
Now the floor is made out of the same stuff as the ruins, right?
Yes, the floor is. The floor and the walls and the ceiling, which makes those collapsed areas really strange.
Now where he
cracks like this could be coming through, or
hold on.
Where he found the heat was inside, right?
No, it was on the outside surfaces.
not coming through like cracks in the ground, or
That's what I was going to say.
It was along the base of the thing, near the ground, but the ground itself didn't seem to be any warmer temperature. Just the very edge of the building, just a little bit up from the ground.
I'm thinking that's the power source.
Yeah, most likely. But I'm trying to see if there's any other entrances in the other ruins that go down. Like maybe if we could pour water on the floor, if it'll see a leak or a seep.
oh yeah, let's go short out some 10 billion year old power generator down there.
That's right.
If the earthquake
really
didn't do it,
smell
we're not going
here,
to.
Well, it wasn't a big earthquake.
Does it rain here?
It was only a 5. Occasionally, yes.
Has it rained since the earthquake?
No.
Dune, Arrakis, desert planet.
I wasn't going for that one, but I was thinking if it's already rained and it's not shorted anything out, then we know that's a safe experiment.
Yeah. No, it has not rained since
I
they
doubt it's
got
going to
down
sort it
there.
out.
You should take a water bottle and dump it on the floor. What do we care? We're not scientists. If we broke it, we not like you break it, you bought it.
I want to get in. Yeah, I want to get in.
Hey, we've already found 2 good things for them. I mean,
Yeah, come on. I'll take a water bottle out and I take a swig and then drop the thing on the floor.
They're going to look at you funny.
All right.
They already think we're weird. We're amateurs.
Everybody make a perception roll.
Oh God. Explosion.
You notice they think you're.
Oh, look at Eric. Wow.
What did I just roll?
100?
100.
No, you didn't roll. You just typed 100. You said roll 100. You forgot the D in front of it.
What am I supposed- Oh, rolling. Wait, how do I do it again?
/R space and then the die you want to roll.
100.
Yes.
Yes.
I forgot the D. I'm like, come on.
I'd like to point out we're investors.
33.
33.
All right. Okay. So, as you guys are intently looking at that, John and so Chikara and Chicheka happen to glance up, and coming from this direction, probably about a kilometer out, you see motion out in the plains. It's dark, but there's something moving out there, and there's more than one something moving, and it is large, and it is probably headed your direction.
Better not be those
Sweet.
guys that we fought last time.
And we have to stop because I gotta get my wife to the airport.
That is a great stopping point.
All right, so you're gonna all make one more roll, and so you can use whatever gear or tools or whatever you want to use to try to enhance your vision. But everybody make one more roll, and we'll see where we're at. And you all have a bonus applied, so just make the roll and tell me what you're using.
I was going to use my magnet goggle.
Okay.
I'm using my Mark 1 eyeballs.
Okay.
I'm using the scope on my rifle.
All right.
A 7's pretty dang good.
Yeah, you rolled really well, Eric.
I mean, it's like, I see something.
Yeah. You all right.
Wow, we rolled pretty
So
decent.
between the group of you, there are 4 explorers headed your direction.
Holy crap.
That's all you can tell.
Red alert.
Another shuttle laser.
And
Well, there's lasers in the tower.
and just as you start noticing that, the tower right here fires off in that direction.
Which one? The top or the bottom? I'm sorry.
This one right
Top
here.
left.
Oh,
That
okay.
one fires off, and you're guessing they're about a kilometer. What?
I scrolled to the wrong end of the map.
Yeah, they you are
Upper
guessing.
right?
Yeah, upper left.
Upper left.
Yeah, so they're coming in from roughly this direction. I should draw.
Any
on here.
logos, markings on these?
It's dark. You can't tell. They're too far away and it's too dark at the moment.
But friend and foe on the lasers decided they're foe.
Yeah,
That's all.
apparently. So they're coming that direction. They're coming from that direction.
I think we call this in for backup, man.
I'm running to our explorer.
This is corporate war territory, so it's okay for them to bring in the jet fighters.
Yeah, I'm going to run to the Explorer also and start getting the mortar ready.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna run to the explorer,
So
man, the
we're gonna-
machine
we're-
gun.
We are gonna stop right here because I've got to get going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you guys can decide on your tactics that you want to start with. They're a kilometer away, and I'll tell you what that hit did when we start next time. So the laser hit one of the explorers.
All right.
Okay.
Have fun, and
Have a
yeah,
safe
tell your
drive.
wife to take a later flight next time.
Well, she's traveling this week and next week. She leaves again on Sunday for another trip to Boston this time, and
Ooh, Boston, my favorite part.
and then she's not traveling again this year. So
All right. Well,
Okay.